No. That is rolling and we are on live on YouTube, so we are set.
Okay, good evening. I will call to order the Bethlehem Bethlehem Library Board of Trustees meeting for April 13th, 2026. Before we start public participation, why don't we go around the table and introduce ourselves?
Jerry Whiting, Board Treasurer.
Sarah Patterson, Vice President. Jill Adams, Trustee.
Gail Sacco, Trustee.
Michelle Walsh, Trustee.
Jeff Kirkpatrick, Library Director.
Caroline Brancatella, President. And before we ask for anyone who would like to publicly participate tonight, our Vice President Sarah will read the statement that we read before every session of public participation.
Beginning and ending each library board meeting with public participation is an opportunity for community members to express their thoughts on library operations to the board. Because the purpose of the monthly meeting is to conduct board business, it is not a time for back and forth debate with members of the board. If specific questions are presented during public participation and the relevant information is readily available, the board will make an effort to address the question in the course of the meeting. Otherwise, community members may follow up on any questions by directly contacting the library director or the board via email or speaking to them after the meeting. We will advertise organized opportunities to speak directly with board members. A reminder that all library policies apply at board meetings, including the patron conduct policy and the harassment policy.
Do we have any public participation in the room? Jeff, do we have any requests online? Okay. Then we will move on to a review of the previous meeting minutes. Did anyone have any questions or concerns about these?
I'll make a motion to accept the previous meeting's minutes.
A second. All those in favor? The previous meeting's minutes pass. Sherry, on to the financial report.
Okay. I'm probably beginning to sound a little bit like a broken record. Not much has changed since last month. Expenses overall are slightly under budget, but there are some areas, as you know, that are over budget. Although health insurance is over by about 5%, salaries are slightly under by about 2%. In total, salaries and benefits are over by 1.8%. I think we're gonna land, for salaries anyways, I think we're gonna land right on target, but we will be over budget in the benefits areas, as we've talked about before. Gas and electric is over budget, and operational expenses are under. So we're hoping some of those underspent lines will help to offset, some of the overspent lines. Library materials are under at this point, but this will change as many materials are purchased towards the end of the year. So we expect that number will go up. On the revenue side, interest income is currently about 10% over budget, and I'm expecting it to come in around 15% over budget. I'm putting myself out there to say that. Hopefully I'll be right. Overall, I'm expecting a surplus, but it won't be as large as in past years.
But still a surplus.
But still a surplus, yes.
Those investments are extremely helpful.
Right.
Anyone?
One thing I do want to mention, as we start spending a little bit more of the fund balance by doing some of the projects that we're doing, we have to remember that we'll have less funds available for investment, so interest earnings will go down a bit too.
Did anyone have any specific questions on any of the spending this month?
I did have a question. I'm just trying to find this because I did this online earlier on page 14. I noticed, I don't know if this is for Jeff or for Sherry, but there were just a couple really tiny amounts going to other libraries, and I was just curious. Is that a fine? Is that purchasing of materials?
It's when a person pays for a book that's lost, but they pay here, but it's owned at a different library. So we collect the funds and then we turn around. And so you're seeing a $12.99 divorce bill.
Yeah,
That's someone who paid for a lost book. You probably our patron borrowed it through the courier, came here, it got lost. They paid for it here because this is where they borrowed it. And then, but we don't own the book, so we have to turn the money.
Okay. Oh, the other one was $7.99, so I guess I even thought that those amounts were too little to be a book. Oh,
Yeah,
paperback, yeah, okay. All right, thank you.
Got it. Yeah, good question.
Would anyone like to make a motion? Yeah,
I move we accept the financial report and the warrants.
all those in favor? The financial report passes. Jeff, the personnel report.
So I have one action requested right now. This is for a part-time circulation clerk. We had a retirement / resignation. And for now, we're gonna request, I'm requesting to fill a position, but we're gonna hold on posting it while we assess how many people we need for that position and what hours we need and what schedule we need. So I'm requesting to fill, but then you're very unlikely to see me come back next month and say, we're filled with this person. So we're just in a position, with the budget for next year, we're gonna be looking at every position that comes open. We're gonna look at the schedule, we're gonna see what we need and gonna be taking, close scrutiny on every position that comes up. So that's that I want to stay for now. So you will see it next month, very likely down with those other 2-page positions that are under positions held that have been previously approved to fill, but fill right away.
So are we voting tonight on
Yeah.
a position to Sunday before?
Well, it's an option, so we can get a good look at it. We don't want to have to, if we cut the position up or do, look at the hours, look where we need it. If we decide that, we don't want to have to come back and bother you with it again.
So you intend to fill the position, you just want to make sure that the parameters around it are correct?
I wouldn't go that far. I'm not sure yet. We're really unsure. We're looking at the positions, we're looking at the circulation, we're looking at the schedule, we're looking at everything right now. So every position is gonna get a good hard look before we fill it.
I move to authorize the director to fill the library time position. The director needs it necessary.
Any
Thank
seconds?
you.
Yeah, second that.
All those in favor?
Okay.
Personnel request pass. Jeff, director's report.
All righty, boiler, we'll talk about the design later on. Just to let everybody know, no one noticed your email newsletter is been delivered through a different software. So we were not happy with our former software and for lots of reasons. And in any case, we went with a new company called MessageBee, and there is a software offered already by one of our other vendors. The implementation went very, very smooth. We're very pleased with that, and so it allows us to send those email newsletters out without looking like we're spammers, and also integrating that same software allows us to notify the staff via text when there's an emergency. So we've moved all of that over to the new one. We had a test of that, so we made sure it's working. So very pleased with that software. And then just want to give some credit to the mobile app. I think it's really a very good tool. And some of the, we've heard some complaints about the new catalog that's from Upper Hudson, this Vega catalog. Some of the issues in Vega don't exist in the mobile app. So there's some kind of requests that are, I think it's all being fixed now. I'm looking over at Phil. They're working on them, but those issues never popped up in our app. So if you want a better search experience, then might want to check out the mobile app. It's a good chance to download that through either the Google Play app or the iPhone App Store. Lots of good stuff over on the in the children's department, we've been reading that collection, and then we're reorganizing a little bit in the picture books. We're creating some new sections there. So taking them out of the, by author category and then putting them by some of the biggest categories that people look for: colors, seasons, some favorite characters. They'll be organized around the favorite character or around the season. You can go over right now. The seasons books are already pulled out and in a special section on the wall in the children's room. So just a different way.
So that was gonna be my question about, well, first of all, I thought it was a great idea,
Yeah.
especially for little kids, looking for certain something. But so you're only gonna choose one topic at a time to highlight. It's not that the whole section is now, this is animal stories, this is.
Correct. It's there's gonna be about 5 sections on the, there's a section of the picture books that's on the low shelves that got moved closer to the information desk to create some more room in the back. And then on the wall, there's more picture book shelves. Those sections on the wall, that many will be organized by these sections. So that's where we'll have some that rotate and some that stay. So it might be some very popular characters that just, till they become unpopular characters, which will be years and years, they'll stay there in those sections. They'll just be, kids can find them very easily over there. So just giving it a whirl, giving it a try to see how people react to it. And, we know the books are popular because we know what they check out. We're just gonna see if we organize them a little differently, if we can increase the circulation. As always, love to highlight the early literacy programs. We've developed a very good and robust set of these and some great continuing attendance on those. So that was awesome. But also then last month, we've got a lot of fun programs. We had MySci in this early readers club, which is the right in our long range plan, we addressed that we're not just doing early literacy, but also trying to do education about early literacy for caregivers, parents and grandparents and other caregivers. So that's that program, and it's being well received. So we're happy about that. Just a lot of good stuff during break week. Saturday story time continues to have robust numbers. It took a while to build up that to become a thing where people were coming on Saturday, but we're very pleased with that. And then lots of great crafts and pictures. Iris dance story time is awesome. So, and then as far as adult services is concerned, we have some new bookshelves. If anybody's been over to look at the new bookshelves, there's new shelves over there. So they're a little bit higher. They look a little different, and these are mobile. So they've already been deployed. So they're over there. Go take a chance. Go take a look. The Little Sunday Music was well received, and our Listen and Learn programs, whereas the Skylers continues to be perennially 98 people in there, continues to be perennially popular with the local connection and then also the Hamilton connection, obviously. Some good stuff. The Bethlehem Historical Association program again, always with great attendance, and competitive puzzling, and some needle felting, some craft programs, Mahjong, which continues to be extremely popular. They were spread off across multiple rooms, but we have people just learning to play. We have experienced people who want to play with, just get hooked up with other people who already know how to play. So we're doing that across rooms. That's fantastic. And then, well, the rest of it, but it's all great stuff. Outreach big at the town extravaganza. We had better weather this year. And last year we had when we first tried to do it, this got rescheduled, right? So in any case, big attendance down there. And then Ellesmere after school programs and Hammond after school, as well as an outreach over at the Spinney. A small but mighty group of people were happy to see us there.
I actually had a question
Yeah.
about that. And about the senior outreach.
Yep.
I know that outreach takes employee time and resources, and I also know it's Mark's baby, outreach.
Yeah.
However, I'm wondering, is it worth the employee time and the use of resources if the attendance is so low?
I mean, and it's a valid question that it's hard to have. There's no one answer to that, right? You could say yes or you could say no. I think
Have you noticed a trend? Is it consistently low?
it's consistently low. Yeah, you're not over there. You're not going to get, you're not going to get the hundreds of people like we would get at the extravaganza.
Or maybe even 20, like
Would love to see.
if it's only 5.
Yeah. Okay.
It might be worth revisiting.
Yep.
Or maybe employing those resources in another way, yeah.
Definitely. So,
Yeah, especially if we're thinking about, we're gonna cut a whole position of, so, you know what I mean, like, maybe we need those people to be in the building if we're.
Yeah, exactly. Valid and good questions. I mean, you'll be hearing a lot about the book sale fundraiser coming down the pike. And we've got the whole studio makerspace put out of business right now, and that's where we're collecting all the books. So if you like poke your nose next door, you'll see a lot of books next door. Glad we had that space this year. And then I the Reach Consortium, I just want to mention here that we were pursuing a government healthcare cooperative, and unfortunately, that has been paused or stopped. It's not an option. So that will not be offered to us as an opportunity. So sad, but not true. And then lots of good continuing education there. You can all about that. And next month we'll have the reports from the Public Library Association. We sent some of our staff members who have those reports in your hands for next month. That's that. Good statistics. I think you're up in circulation a little bit. Door count up marginally, but again, over 20,000, which makes me happy. And then, lots of good use for audiobooks, but ebooks continue, the reading with your eye tends to still be dropping a little bit. So it's not, we're not experiencing huge growth in that right now. So.
Well, it's out of work time,
Fair enough.
like, what do you do?
Right.
You do all those things you don't want to do.
Right, but circulation was good. I mean, we were almost at 60,000. We're at 59,531. That's a good circulation. So maybe they're reading books, right? So we did have a big, I'm just gonna look at the library things. I know it's a relatively small number compared to 60,000, but the equipment use was good, up 714 over 431. So I saw a significant growth there. So that's that.
Do you, when you highlight things in the collection, so regarding what I just said?
Yeah.
Do you pull things out from the library of things that would be spring useful and put them on display so they're right in front of people? I find it confusing to browse those shelves.
The library things,
Yeah, I
yes,
think
they are.
it's hard, I
Yeah.
think it's hard to not have it be confusing, but I wonder if you have, I know that you have tools that you could maybe put out around the seed display
Yeah.
that might.
Or even a sign.
Yeah.
Or a graphic, so these are the spring items or these are the fall items.
I don't think very often. I think the answer is no, I don't think we're doing that. Some of them tend to be clunky and it's an object, but
Or maybe
Like fishing poles.
Or
right.
maybe some pictures or something. I'm just wondering if there's maybe a synergy.
Well, there definitely is. And we're moving, I'm looking at Chris over there, we're moving some of those library of things collections around a little bit to make them easier and more accessible. Kind of, and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're moving some of the things out of the periodical section so the games came out of the periodical section. They're down with the young adult collection now, or near the young adult collection, to kind of try to keep that quieter contemplative space of the periodical section. There's a little bit of a there's just a discordant use there where we have things that are a little bit inherently noisier and then things that are a little bit more quiet. So we're moving those things around a little bit. We're moving the Chromebooks I just saw, and the Wi-Fi hotspots are coming up, and they're going with museum passes because those are the highest circulating items in the library thing. So we're moving the stamps around a little bit to try to display them a little bit better.
Whatever, it's just
It's a good question. Yeah, you got it.
That actually reminds me about something we spoke about probably 6 months ago or whatever. Wi-Fi hotspots
Yep.
that can go out of the country.
Yes.
Any at all possibility of doing that? Is it cost prohibitive?
We-
Yes, Phil's saying yes. it's
We
not
is,
prohibitive.
so we did look into this, and I'm sorry I didn't answer your question back, because we got a pretty good thorough answer. So the ones we have right now are workable in North America, most of North America, so Canada, Mexico, Caribbean. But when we looked at, I said, we have a bunch of people that go to Europe and might want to get a European plan. Yes, no, the answer is no. In T-Mobile, it's not that you could have it, but it's gonna be very, very expensive to do and probably not worth it. I mean, and there's less expensive
Well, thanks
ways.
for looking.
Yeah, no, it's a good.
Yeah.
We were excited about it.
Yeah.
It would be a great thing to offer. So I tried to find one that would specifically only work overseas because I wouldn't want people taking it if we're gonna pay that much for it.
Right.
I wouldn't want people using it here and there, using it here in their house. You'd want it to be used for that purpose to go away, and it's.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Next is the UHLS report. Mark is not here this evening, but we spoke with him and he did not have anything specific to report. So we go to Jill and the Friends report.
Yeah, they meet next week, so I'll go to the meeting. I don't know if there's been a final decision made on selling the mugs, the branded mugs for Friends of the Library, but the profit was not really great, so I'm sort of leaning against it. Might be more work than it's worth. So we'll see what they decide.
Have they discussed selling any other merchandise at the book sale?
No, the mugs were kind of got the most interest, say. Just felt like without worrying about sizes of t-shirts, for example. I have mugs, branded mugs from, various public radio stations. So it's something that people use either as a coffee mug or a pen holder or, a million things. And there are local places that would do it for us, but the cost versus what we can sell them for is not, that margin is not great.
We do have the bookmark that has the T-shirt store on it where people.
So people can go independently. And can we advertise that at the book sale?
They can.
Maybe as an alternative, Jill, if we could have sample t-shirts out there. And just alert people to the opportunity to do that. If the friends are, I shouldn't say we, the friends are willing to do that.
What about the bags, the tote bags, are those, is that a Friends item or a library item?
Friends, yeah.
Okay.
And so we have those. I think they were just looking for something,
Else.
what else could we do? And something that would be easy enough to have like at the books. We've got a lot of people there who are all loving the Friends, feeling in a community-minded friends positive way. And if there was an opportunity there to have some. They'll have the bags there, they're definitely for sale, they'll have.
I think that we are on to new business. The first of which are the New York State Annual Report Libraries, which I'm pitched to Jeff.
Not at all lengthy or almost.
Oh, it is literally my favorite part of the year. And there are some brief updates to this, which I will send to everyone. The process is I submit it. We have, first of all, without going too far into this, summarize. The Baker and Taylor, the old software for collecting this was through Baker and Taylor folded up. And so the state was scrambling around to get a new software to collect this. We are on, that is what you're seeing here is the new software. It looks a little bit different than it has in the past. So the window for getting it submitted, we had less than a week to get it to Upper Hudson. So we knew what we needed to do. We had a lot of the data assembled. We put it together. It gets reviewed at Upper Hudson and then finally submitted to the state on the 16th. So there are, in what is printed here, there's a few very minor changes, which I detail for all of you, but will not hold up our document. Most of them were just notes where the people were saying, there's a change here. It looks like so nothing financial, and but anyway, that's here. So big long report. Is in my little report card every year. We do need to have a vote on it from you guys. Anybody wants to know my public library certification number? Very exciting. There that is. And just lots of questions about the library, everything the state wants to know about us. So.
And most of this is information that is in our monthly.
Yes, in fact, the reason for much of the way that we report things in the monthly report, we can talk about this at some point. If you guys want the numbers in my monthly report to look different, something that would be more meaningful for you each month, we can. It's just the way years ago when that format was set up, it feeds directly into this report in a lot of very real ways. So what we collect is what ends up on this report. Though there has been some drift, but lots of, this is like an annual report card. We summarize this information in that annual report to the community. We in no way just flop this big report at them, but it is a place for us to check in for our community, and this will be available as soon as it's official and submitted to New York State. We put a copy of this up on our website for anybody who really wants to dig in on this stuff. The negative part of losing that old database is the years worth of historical data that were easily accessible to the public, where they could just search and say, well, tell me what circulation's been doing over the past 20 years. We have that data, but that state access is now gone, and much of that historical data, we have it all. We downloaded everything. We already had it anyway, but that easy access for the public, they're restarting with the new database right now, building that up.
And then it goes from the state into a national database. And every so often Bethlehem gets starred. There used to be a starred library, and that's because this stuff was recorded in the database.
We did get 2 error checks, apparently. Our support per capita and our circulation per capita was too high. They said, we don't believe that your circulation could be that high per person, but it is. So, hey, I have a special note. Why is it so high? Fantastic director. That's what I say. In any case, it's in no way me. So just great community, great staff, hard work, good stuff. That's just a compilation of all of that. So if this is acceptable to you, we'd love you to take a vote on this so we can get this submitted to the state.
Would anyone like to make a motion to accept?
Oh, I did have a question, sorry.
Alright.
Alright, so at this very end thing where they ask you, or they ask for suggestions on improving this
Yes.
report, and you mentioned splitting the summer reading is kind of unnecessary.
Yes.
Have they asked you that before? Is that question always been there?
It
And
is.
have you always answered that way?
I don't answer that. I have been, listen, I'm mellowing in my old age. I used to be a lot snarkier. Right where they would say, the question, are you satisfied with this resource this meeting the library needs? I used to say no, because I was very angry, because I'm like, it doesn't. What happens with these numbers? What do you do with them? Is there ever any large thing that gets put out? Right, and I got called on the carpet by some board members like, why are we antagonizing the state? Fair enough. So I try to be a little bit more constructive and say, just at this specific thing, they pull out, summer reading program bridges our fiscal year. So it's part of June and it's July and August. The state wants just every summer their stuff. So we have to collect numbers that go one way for much of the report and split it out and go the other way for another report. It is a lot of Christine's time, and she's working with her department heads so that they understand the methodology for doing this. It is quite a bit of staff time to put that together. For what purpose? And so that's the nature of my question.
So my ultimate question is, have you ever noticed them making a change based on your? No.
Absolutely not. And and I'm not taking it away. I respect our friends at the Division of Library Development, but I don't think, I honestly, that's a thing. I will keep shouting or yelling at the clouds, I guess. I will continue to do that.
Yeah.
So, my biggest actual complaint, I'll just tell you, is that all of the we report to the comptroller's office for our financial, we report to the state education department, and then report again differently to the state education department. And this is on a cash basis. And we don't do our accounting on a cash basis. And I don't know why, Sherry and Tanya have to spend time converting stuff over and putting it in the right way. It's pointless. So I'll say it on the record here. I don't think there's any point in saying it there. They're not going to change what they do. And then I'll shut up.
We're on the school district.
We do, yes. So we are official. We don't, but we do. So there are, we actually had a deep dive into this year, Gail. This is an interesting question. So, for me, I'm trying to be short. We are one of the few school district public libraries in the state that is reported as a hybrid institution, and that decision was made by both the school district and the library sometime back in the annals of time. We've been a school district library since 1931. I have no idea when that was dated. So every year, most libraries in Albany County that are school district libraries or district libraries have to report to the comptroller in a separate annual financial report, and we are not on their list. And like all the other library directors, like, how come you're not on that list? What's going on? Nope, we report different, an ST3 report that goes to the school district and it gets onto their comptroller's report and gets reported to the comptroller every year. We don't have to, but it's no different. I mean, there's literally no difference to us. So it is a question, it is deep into the lore. It is a question we could ask, and we could absolutely have the talent on staff to report directly to the comptroller.
It's not important, just.
Right.
It's just.
Yeah. It's a good question, and it's for the people who are paying attention to those, because some libraries don't file with the comptroller, and they're like, we see Bethlehem's never filed, and I'm like, you're correct. We don't file separately like you guys do. We file as a hybrid institution, and we got that information, confirmed this year. That's so.
Would anyone like to make a motion to accept the report?
So moved.
I think Michelle is the second. All those in favor? The motion passes. Okay. Two things that I think are quick and pretty quickly aligned. This is really just for informational purposes, so that you guys know how some things are moving forward. So the long range plan, we are going to work between this meeting and the next meeting. We set up another committee. This board meeting and the next board meeting to set up another committee meeting for the long range plan to continue to move that forward. All board members are welcome to please look at the current long range plan, which is available on our website. We can also send you Word versions of that, and to mark it up with comments, anything that you'd like to see stay, anything that you'd like to see go, anything that you'd like to see modified. Everyone on the committee has been asked to do that. If you're on the committee and have not already sent that to Mark, please do so. But all board members are welcome to as well. So
I spoke to Mark also. I wanted to add maybe a spark, I guess. So I went to a restaurant a long time ago in Manhattan, and we were having drinks made, and when we walked past the sit-up station, it said that the restaurant was like a piece of jazz music. So when we went through the boys building process, which also went down, good places that go down anyway. One of the things we brainstormed was what the library was like. Libraries, since the last long range report was made, the environment that we work in has changed. I don't even know how to quantify it. It's just a whole different environment than used to be, where the library was the central information point, because everybody wants to be that. So I would encourage you to think about what the library is. So I give you 3 examples. For me, part of what the library is like is Lincoln Center. It has an entertainment aspect, it has a children's education aspect, it has a research aspect, it has all of those pieces that we can find in our library. Another example for that would be, do you think that the library is like the Writers Institute? Are there aspects of the Writers Institute that you think would reflect on our library? Or do you think it's like SPAC? Again, SPAC has educational things, they're doing a lot of things for kids, but they're very focused. I mean, one of the things that distinguishes SPAC, I think, SPAC from some other places is that they're very focused on one aspect of entertainment. We need to really be thinking about who we are as we move forward. And it's just a way to brainstorm, to take a look at what's going on around you and see if there's something that reflects back on what you'd like to see at the library. Thanks.
thank you, Gail. great things to think about as we all look at that. And like I said, if you can, we will email out when the long range, we'll probably send out a poll to when we can do the long range plan meeting, and then we'll ask for any input for then. The second item is policies. So we have, what's the total number, Jeff? 9 or 10? I mean, that are
10.
currently, okay. So we have a number of policies that Jeff and the staff have looked at and have assessed that they need updates. Because we disbanded the policy committee this year, because in most cases, the full board prefers to weigh in on the policies. So in the interest of efficiency, we are just doing it as a full board. I have asked for volunteers and specifically asked Sarah and Jill and myself to each take 3, I think we ended up with each 3 policies, and with some notes from Jeff about what we are looking for to modify those policies, what the staff has assessed need to be modified in those policies, and for each of us to take our 3 policies and implement those changes in a red line format as a first take. And then we will bring each of those red lines and we're going to share amongst ourselves, kind of trade red lines, say, okay, do we think this is doing what it needs to be done? And then we will take those policies, not all at once, but probably 2 or 3 a meeting. We will put the red line, we will give people the red line of policy ahead of time. We will also put it up on the screen so that the full board can comment and make any additional suggestions, say what they like, what they don't like. And then we can go back for modifications based on those comments and hopefully bring up the policy a second time for a vote. That seems to be the most efficient way to address that, because the hardest part, I think we have, as a board, have learned that trying to write policies by committee is not an efficient use of our time. We just need someone to start the process of the redlining, and then we'll bring them up one at a time for full board input. And I would guess that we will start that the May meeting,
I mean, yeah.
the May or the
whatever.
June meeting.
Yeah.
We will start bringing up the first, 1 or 2 for full board input. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about that process?
Sounds good.
Does anyone have any other new business? Okay, on to old business. Tell us about the boiler job.
We're so close. So close to done. So the boiler, all of the gross installation is finished. What I would call major, what every reasonable person would call installation is done. Boiler has been fired up, test fired, it all works. So the last part that has to happen is that the electricians have run the wires over to our central brain system that controls all the HVAC, and it's just a final hookup. And then that hookup needs to happen. And then there is a testing process with the insurance company. Every boiler needs to test every year. And then that's going to happen. And then we will be officially boilered up just in time to not need a boiler, but that's okay. We've been lucky with the weather, just the way it's worked out. The impacts to the building and for people in the building have been very minor. I've been pleased that I thought there was going to be a lot greater impact. So that's good news. But it was nice to be able to check that off completely and say we're done. So.
Okay, great. We also have an update on the 59 Borthwick project.
So I talked briefly via email with our architects and just sent them a status report on where we are, so I could have a report back for the board. They expect to have documents, design development. So there's the stages of design, even though it's a just short design process. We have to go through design development. Then there's a comment period by us, and then they'll issue after that construction documents. So it's just like we had last time with our big project, same process, just in micro. So we'll have that. And then the question I've got is then the review of those contract or the design development documents before we decide to go with the construction documents. And then that starts the whole bidding process after that. And
so I think the question for the board is, once we have those design documents to review, is that something that we want to give to the building committee to look at specifically and report back to the board? Or do we think it is more efficient for the board as a whole to look at those design documents and offer any comments, modifications, concerns?
And I'm gonna chime in and just make add a pitch for the board committee, because we're gonna need to be, the time is tight, we're gonna need to be agile on this. Getting a meeting together is gonna be a challenge with more people that we have, so I'm making a pitch for that. But I'm happy to make whatever work with.
You're making a pitch for speed. Are you indicating preference for the committee or for the board?
I'm making a preference for the committee.
Okay.
So that we can schedule that first review meeting quickly, but I think it's important to have board members there and not just have the Kevin and me and Chris and Phil looking at that. I think it's important that we have some board members on that too, so we can be pretty agile with that.
So just,
So I guess I would have thought doing committee would take longer. Because you still have to bring it to the board, right? In the.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a whole, the issuance of an RFP and all of that stuff. All that has to happen, absolutely has to come to the board, but there's some comments back and forth between design development and contract documents that are pre the vote. Everybody will still have their chance to weigh in. No one's being cut out of this
Well,
process.
I'm thinking, what's there to weigh in on, you're taking the bill down?
no, I mean, so we're taking some of the questions that we have asked, what do we want to retain on site? Things like where electricity might be sited, things like where water might be sited. If, we have questions about safety, things like that. So the committee has the opportunity to kind of flag those things immediately, get answers, and kind of just run interference on some of those questions and bring it back to the board. So does anyone have, I think I'm hearing,
I'm fine with committee.
Committee sounds good.
okay, then once we have those documents, we will call a meeting of the building committee. Just an FYI, it is Sarah, Gail, Jill. And I would participate as necessary, or if I can. And so I think that's gonna be a fairly swift moving process, because once we get those documents in hand, we're gonna wanna move forward with that, so we will keep you apprised. The other question related to 59 Northwick, and keep me honest on this, Jeff, is, as you know, in the past, we have engaged a construction manager for our projects, both small and large, the most recent one being the boiler, where we engaged CJ to oversee the, the RFP process and kind of the design process. And although he personally did not oversee the installation of the boiler, he did oversee everything up to the boiler. Do we want to engage a construction manager in a similar fashion for taking down the Borthwick property? That's someone who oversees the RFP process, helps us understand the bids, and then potentially in this case continues to oversee as a construction manager all of the physical things that need to occur to bring down the building.
I like that idea because there may be questions about what's in the soil, for example, or there may be questions about whether safety was adhered to, which all of those things will be happening. I want to be really clear. But to have an external voice monitoring that, I think would be useful for us if there are questions that come up or things we need to clarify.
And I'm, much more than TechScale, much more even than the boiler project, which was contained to a single room. Very, for safety, all those safety standpoints, containable room. This is going to be outside. There's going to be a construction area, fencing, all of this stuff. And I really like to have somebody on who knows about that. So if you, with your assent, I will contact Schoolhouse and get a proposal, and I can put that in front of you.
Do you need a motion?
I don't think until we have a proposal in front of us.
But if you have any questions about that, I mean, I wouldn't, if it was definitely no, then I wouldn't seek it. We can try to do it with.
No, I would agree, if it was helpful for a boiler, it's gonna be doubly helpful with an entire building.
Well, for example, if the house comes, when the house comes down, while the workmen are there, if the soil needs to be enriched for the garden, we might want to have that happen while we have the workmen there to turn the earth over.
Yeah.
That's just an example.
And just for anyone in the public who is listening, we do not have set dates yet. Obviously, we have to go through this process for the building to come down. As soon as we do, we will communicate those to the public. And just a reminder that for those of you who live in the neighborhood, we do have a listserv set up so that we can send to the neighborhood emails with more specific information about, what time things are starting, what may disrupt your day, although we anticipate that this will only be a one-day disruption. So if you are interested in being on that listserv, please contact us and we will make sure that you are put on it.
Yeah, it's, we've had just very few emails and that listserv now anticipating that.
More. Yes.
During a project like this, I would anticipate using that much more to inform.
Yes. Okay,
Thanks. I will talk to them again.
thank you very much. Any other old business?
I'm just wondering, what is the plan for everything that's being stored currently in the Borthwick property?
So as we are reading our collection of books, we are also taking a hard look at everything over there. Having the space available, can lead to some hoarderish tendencies on our part, like we don't have to commit to getting rid of something that might be useful. So we're taking a hard look at everything. The records are going to be a challenge, but you'll see something like we're using the studio next door for this because we can't use room in the back that it could be, we're going to be doing more stuff like that if we don't come up with and have storage.
Do we still have the sheds that you were using during COVID? Is that?
We do, and so that's a perfect example. So in some of those sheds right now, I have stored all the blonde colored wooden chairs. There's still a few of them out there. Everybody hates these chairs. People don't like them, but they are chairs and they are cleanable, very sturdy. And so we have one of them filled with those chairs right now. So that's the kind of question where we haven't gotten rid of it because we haven't needed to get rid of them. But it might be time to commit to doing that, just letting that go, because I would not have space to store those big piles of chairs.
Is there anything that can be donated to the Friends for?
We will do all of those things. Yes, we're not huffing it in the landfill first if there's something that's usually like those chairs are, other than being generally hated by almost all human beings. Not everybody. There's a few people that like them. Most people don't like them. So yeah, they just people do not like the chairs. So it's an oddly.
Chairs you're talking.
I will point them out to you. If you were to go out in the main part of the library, there are 3 chairs out there right now. There's some that are these ones that I'm sitting on, they're blue. There's and then there's some of these they're just a blonde wood and they like a little swoop. The seat has a little swoop to them. And some people, it's like a glove. Many people, it's come for about 15 minutes and then uncomfortable. So when we have to move some of them out, sometimes the chairs have to go for cleaning. We get a lot of complaints from people. So they came in as part of the 2003 renovation. They were all picked to be, centrally purchased. That was the only chair we had. And then pretty quickly, people revolted against those chairs.
Fascinating.
So, yeah.
Okay.
But Michelle, it's a great question. It's going to be a challenge. A lot of the offsite records that are over there, we're digitizing, working as part of what is happening in the administration office. We're working at digitizing records, working under this LGS1 records retention schedule that we have adopted as our official and the state gave to us to adopt. So we're going to ditch physical records of places where we can, as long as we're in compliance with that and try to minimize that.
A lot of program materials when I took the tour over there.
Yep.
So those can't be digitized.
I know.
Digitize the big Connect 4.
I know. Yes, that we can't do that. So it's just it's like a game of Jenga around here trying to fit all this stuff in. It's a loss for us. Make no mistake. Without storage over there, that's my hope was to be able to get some storage for the Friends and oversize it enough that we could use some of it and then the Friends could use the rest of it. That would be my ideal.
Does there need to be an official conversation between us and the Friends for that to happen? Like, how can we
Yeah, and I-
move forward?
And I think that might be part of this design development phase, like that
Okay.
might exactly right then be the time to say, okay. If there's a will of the board to have storage over on that property, I mean, that's definitely the time to do it. Why would we not work that into the project? And I know it's, you know, I think it's definitely worth a meeting or conversation. So.
Jill, can you convey that?
Just to understand where they're thinking about, I haven't.
Yes,
Yeah.
that if they are looking, I think the conversation is that if they are looking to include storage as an option within at any time, but in particular within the next year, that is something that we may want to take into consideration with the design. And they should let us know that information. If that is the case, so that we can factor that into any questions that we have about the design.
And would it not have to be quicker than within the next year? Like,
Well, I
I think
think,
you have to know kind of early on what you're gonna be doing, where you might need electricity.
well, I think that is that we would want to plan.
Yeah,
I mean, so I think there's really two options here, is that there's storage sometime in the infinite future that they could do. Or if they are really serious about doing this in the near future, that there is plans that we would have to put into place, to Michelle's point, where electricity is, you know, setting aside space or understanding that certain space on the property would be better than other space. So I think we just need to discern if the friends are looking at it maybe sometime in the future, but not right now. Or if they are looking at it as a real possibility in the near future that we should significantly take into our design plans.
Great, I'll do that.
Any other old business? Any future business? We do have an executive session today to go over the performance of a specific employee, but before we do that, is there any public participation? Any online chat?
No,
Is there any more applications for trustee, or are we still just at the two?
three.
Or three now?
it's not applications, it's people who have picked up the packet, and it's a very speculative number.
Nobody's returned anything?
We have not, I have received no information from the school district that anybody has.
Just to be clear, the petitions do not go to the library, they go to the school district.
They're pretty good. I mean, when someone starts to submit, they're pretty good. They know that we're interested, so.
Just before we go to executive session, can we, the dates, the next board meeting, is it May 11th?
I updated those on the.
Yes.
Oh,
Online. It's May 11th. It's May 11th.
May 11th is the official one, and we'll update them.
and the Friends is April 20th.
Yes, it is, but the next one after that is June 15th. We'll put it on.
I just wanted to refer.
You are correct.
Yes.
It's-
Okay, would anyone like to make a motion to go into executive session?
I'll second.
An executive session, again, is to discuss the performance of a specific employee. We need to vote.
Yes,
Oh, yes, sorry, all those in favor? The motion passes. We'll head into executive session. Thank you, everyone.
so who, did you get the motions that one?
I got this.
Yes. So.
Sherry.